everybody, Joe Diesel here. Welcome back to the Half Hour Power.
And this is Jesse.
Hey, Jesse, how you doing? You have a good week?
I did have a good week. I found myself in the Dust Bowl and trying to fight my way to another planet because, you know, it's easier to do that than solve the problems of a Dust Bowl.
Dust Bowl, huh?
Yeah, Dust Bowl.
Oh, do you run any carnivals there?
No, no carnivals. You know me, I'm not patient enough for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this opens up the holiday movie season, I think. It's November now, so we're going to talk about Interstellar this week and Christopher Nolan a little bit, his new movie. What's the first Nolan movie you remember seeing?
For me, it was Memento.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
It's the best movie. I still think it's the one I enjoy most out of all of his films.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It's a noble experiment in filmmaking, I think.
Yeah. And then Adam Sandler used it.
Yeah. Oh, Adam Sandler.
Yeah. So, what's that?
Go ahead. I had nothing.
What?
I said nothing. I was coughing. I just coughed a little bit. And I just thought I was making a statement.
Oh, out of the Dust Bowl. All right, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gagging on dust.
He made his feature debut with a movie called The Following. Have you ever seen that? I've never seen that.
I have seen that. It's not a bad film. It's a little, what's the word I'm looking here for? It's got a lot of gaping plot holes, but, I mean, it's interesting. It's just basically about a guy who follows people and creates these little stories in his head about who they are, and one day he just follows the wrong person.
Oh, and if we haven't gotten this out of the way, when we're talking about Interstellar, we're going to give away plot holes.
Oh, yeah.
Plot points, plot spoilers is what I'm trying to come up with. So we are going to give away spoilers for Interstellar. So if you haven't seen Interstellar yet, you might want to, and you want to not know those, don't listen. I mean, as always, we're going to give away spoilers. We're just going to, we don't know how to talk about these without doing it. Yeah, so I've not seen that one. That sounds kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, after that, Memento, that was really good. I haven't seen Insomnia. I think that's the only other one of his I haven't seen.
That's my least favorite of his, because it's a remake of a Norwegian film, which was much, much better. I like Al Pacino, but Stellan Skarsgård is much better in that role. But you know, what can you do? It's when you're trying to work off somebody else's work and make your own thing. Sometimes that's not going to work out.
And probably the thing that's catapulted him the most has been the Batman movies that he's made.
I would agree.
What's that?
I just say that those are some. One of our friends does not like those Batman movies at all, but I've always enjoyed them. I thought they were top notch. Yeah.
So let me say this too: any one of his movies we can do a whole show about, and we have before, and we will again. So right now, we're just talking an overview about his stuff. So if you haven't ever given a thought to any other Nolan movies besides the Batman movies, because those might be some of the only ones that other people have seen, there's more here to watch. The Prestige, I was really impressed with The Prestige. I really liked that one. What did you think about that?
I like The Prestige, but when you think about that film and you read the plot and you see everything that's involved in it, the movie seems destined for failure, and it's still it's a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the Magician movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that little tiny movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Inception.
Great movie. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit. I mean, I remember watching that movie. That sucked me in all the way into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth checking out a lot. And
yeah,
I mean, you look at his filmography there. It's not a whole lot, but what he's done is, I mean, he's right here in the middle of the height of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes his new one here, Interstellar. What's that about?
Oh, wow. It's a hard movie to describe. The Earth is dying, so we are sending a spaceship through a wormhole to look for other life in another galaxy.
Yeah, so why, are we trying to colonize planets in this movie, or what are we doing?
We're just trying to find a planet that's inhabitable for us to live on. So, yeah, in a way, we're looking for a place to colonize.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's an interesting concept. I mean, there's been movies about stuff like that before.
Right.
What do you think?
He tried to do
this? He tried to do this in, like, make it in a real way, you think? Like if it really happened, he tried to...
Nolan's a big fan of realism and trying to find realistic connections to things. That's one of the things he said about the Batman movies is he tried to make them as realistic as possible. But so with Interstellar, there's not a film where he hasn't tried to do that, where he tries to make things as grounded in reality as he can. Like even Inception, he tried to ground in some kind of realism, which was really hard to do since it's all about dreams. But even with this is a movie that actually is grounded in some pretty well-known science, mostly developed by theoretical physicist Kip Thorne. So a lot of the science in it is science that people are theorizing on and think that there are possibilities for these things to happen.
Kip Thorne, he's did you say his work inspired a lot of this movie, a lot of the stuff in it?
Yes, it inspired a lot of the, like I said, a lot of the theoretical ideals produced by the movie. Try not to give too much away, but the Tesseract scene, black hole, how black holes really work and things like that, and the possibilities of black holes were all developed by Kip Thorne. And the way that they travel through the wormhole is also a Kip Thorne work. The CGI team worked with him fairly closely to make the wormhole look as real as possible.
Yeah. What did you think about the effects? We're talking about the effects here real quick. The visuals in this film, I think the visuals in this were striking. I think you made mention of the scope of it.
Yeah, it's very nice to look at. The movie has a fantastic look. This is the first time Nolan's ever used a different cinematographer. He usually uses Wally Pfister, who was making Transcendence, which I'm sure he regrets that, making Transcendence, but...
I don't know, I haven't seen Transcendence yet. Have you seen that?
I have. It's horrible. It's a bad movie.
Uh-oh.
So, but it's a stupid premise in the first place, but, you know. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, that one, yeah. So, did you like Interstellar overall, or what?
I did. It was a good movie. It lacks certain components to being a great film. Like I said, I don't think it's his best movie he's made. I still enjoy Memento more. I enjoy the Dark Knight movies more. And I enjoyed Inception more. But it's a good movie. I can't take away, it's got a nice story, some great acting. The visuals, as we discussed before, are striking. They're beautiful to look at. And there's some really tense moments, and there's some really uplifting moments in the movie. So It's a good movie. It's worth the $10 you'd pay to see it.
Yeah, I like it too. I thought it was pretty good overall. Really, it kept me involved the whole movie. Even the moments we'll discuss here in a little bit. Even the moments I thought could have been better left out of the movie, I didn't mind them so much that it may be just the movie. Like it's happened before with movies. But yeah, it visually it's a great visual look. One of the things as we were watching it that struck me, we haven't talked about this yet, was when he showed anything outside in space, there was no noise at all. Did you notice that, right?
Yeah, but that's a new trend for movies, because a lot of movies are doing that now where space has no sound because space has no sound.
Yeah, I'm not saying that bothered me. I'm just saying I don't think I've noticed that before.
Well, like I said,
did they do that in Gravity?
Yeah. They did it in Gravity. Firefly does it. And Serenity.
Oh wow! I don't remember that. I guess it's the first time I really noticed it.
Well, with Serenity and Firefly, though, they always had that little country music playing over.
Oh, okay, that's why I didn't notice it. Yeah, he had no noise at all. There was really no music playing either.
No.
Now, so Hans Zimmer did the score. I like the score to this. Did you like that?
It was, and this is going to sound weird. I don't know if you thought this. It kind of sounded to me like a Goblin score from the 70s. Yeah,
that's might be why I liked it. And when his name come up, I was like, man, he needs to, he scored Man of Steel, and I thought that was a really bad all the way around. I know we talked about that a lot, but it was nice to see him. I know he scored the Dark Knight movies too, right?
Right. But this is going to sound weird, and but I think that sometimes music is affected by the director of the piece, because Nolan gave him nothing, absolutely nothing of a script or a movie to watch. He just gave him a little text, a little story, and he said that he just didn't want it to be orchestral. He wanted it to be something new, something different. And that's all he said. And he let him have that freedom, and he let him, kind of explore that side of it to himself. Maybe that when he made Man of Steel, Zack Snyder was like, well, you got to have this happening and this happening and this happening, and didn't let him have the freedom he needs.
Yeah, I like the score there.
Yeah, the score was great. I mean, he's never done what I would call god-awful. Even Man of Steel, it was a bad score, but it wasn't like it wasn't annoying.
Yeah, it was just not memorable at all.
Right.
But, yeah, so, we were up against a break here. We'll get back into it when we get back. Have you heard about them upstarts planning on colonizing Mars? Mars? That's so 1950s. We got a real space adventure for you. The Pluto Unmasked Space Adventure. That's right, we're going to Pluto. What's that you say? Pluto's not a real planet anymore. Well, that's why we're going. Pluto is a planet, and it's the planet everybody will want to be on once it's colonized. The Pluto Unmasked Space Adventure. Pluto, once thought to be a gray, dull planet, will become the epicenter of fun in the universe. We're building roller coasters, water parks, bungee jumping, and the hippest nightclubs in the galaxy. Pluto Unmasked Space Adventure. Not only is Pluto a planet, but we'll prove it's the best planet in our solar system, so suck it, Eric James Dyson. Pluto Unmasked Space Adventure. Sign up now as slots are fast. Warning, if Pluto turns out not to be a planet, our bad. right, we're back here, and we're talking about Interstellar. So, Matthew McConaughey, he's got a big load to carry in this movie, doesn't he? I mean, this movie is pretty much on his shoulders, would you say?
I would agree with that. Since he is the driver of the plot, basically. So if it's not him directly with the plot, it's his kids and his influence on his kids that direct that plot. So he has to be a strong center of gravity.
What's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this after it ended. It was a lot more emotional than we thought it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually space movies are kind of cold, and they don't go to some of the places that this movie did. But there's a scene that they cut out of Aliens where you find out that Ripley had a daughter, and she left her behind.
Yeah.
This movie really delves into that. People who would be left behind for this great mission to save the Earth.
Yeah, if he didn't go, the Earth could die, and the humans could die. I mean, that was their main thing. They didn't want the human race to die. They wanted everybody to have a chance. And there's that great I thought this was just a great moment where they go down to the water planet, the first planet they go to check out, and they realize they have been there. Once they get off the water planet, they were only there really for, about an hour of their time?
3 hours.
And then about 3 hours they were on that water planet?
Yeah.
Of their time. Then when they come back, because these planets they're trying to figure out are around a black hole they call a gargantua. Mm-hmm. And this first planet they go to, the time moves a lot differently because of the gargantua. Did I get that right?
Right, because it's sucking so much gravity from it, they shifted time.
Yeah, so when they go back to the ship, the fellow they left on their ship is he had been up there for 23 years.
Right, yeah.
So when he gets back, they got 23 years of messages because they can still receive messages from Earth. And I just thought that was a great moment when he sits down and watches the messages from his son, and his son shows he's married, and you see the actor changes because he grew up. And it mostly just shows McConaughey's reaction to all that. I thought that was great. What did you think about that?
I love that scene, and one of the other things I love about that scene is how much of an afterthought poor Wes Bentley was. He dies when they get hit, because he doesn't get on the ship, and he gets hit by the wave. But it's such like, he's dead, who cares? You know, no one even thinks about it, no one even really cares about it, you know. He's just gone. And then they show that scene of him laying in the water.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like, look, this guy lost his life. But he's
stuck there forever. Nobody's ever going to know he's there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's pretty, but it's just such like, oh, that poor guy.
I thought of the plastic bag that he thought was the most beautiful thing in the world on the American Beauty. I was like, he looks like a little plastic bag floating there in his spacesuit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of scenes like that in the movie where they're trying to. They get very. He wants to go back and see his daughter, but because when he leaves, pissed off that he's leaving, and she should be. You know, how old was she? 11, 12 when he left her?
10.
She was like 10, so she's not going to understand that. Why he's leaving, and he tells Anne Hathaway this.
Yeah.
That when he leaves, he's like, you can't tell her that the planet's going to die. She's 10.
Right, because you got to make her feel safe.
I'm her dad. I want her to feel safe. So he didn't want to lie to her, but he wanted to. There was a lot of that in the movie, and I thought this was a great scene too when they go to where the one scientist who's still sending transmissions from the planet. Because did we set this up that scientists went off. They found a wormhole. They don't know who put the wormhole there, and it was by Saturn. So their plan is to go through the wormhole, see where that goes. Well, they're getting transmissions through it, and there are 3 planets that look pretty good according to the data sent back. And one of them is still sending transmissions, so they decide they're going to go there because he's still alive, and he's in a cryosleep. They do this cryosleep in.
Right.
That was a great moment, too, when they wake him out of cryosleep. The first thing he does is he hugs them.
Yeah, he starts crying.
Yeah, it's like, we don't know how long he had been on that planet without seeing people.
True. That I love the fact that they kind of, and I won't reveal it, but I thought it was kind of nice that they didn't reveal the actor who played that role. But they built him up nicely, like he was very aligned with the third man.
Yeah. And then we see who it is. And there's a lot of well-known actors in it that are in bit parts.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of surprising people were roles like, wow, it's a small role. But, I guess Christopher Nolan has built such a name for himself that he can do these kind of things where he can bring in, these top-notch actors for these small roles.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the ending here.
Yeah.
What did you think about the end?
I will say simply that I thought that, and I think we discussed this before, but I thought the ending on it was far too clean. Far too clean. Because it seems, I guess, unrealistic based on what the rest of the film did. Because the film was trying to build this really realistic kind of world, and the ending was just too clean and too unrealistic for me.
Yeah, because what happens is there's some trouble. They have to leave that planet, and we won't give away. We're giving away spoilers, but we're not going to give away that spoiler, I guess. But,
right.
So they leave the planet, and the only thing that he can do, Matthew McConaughey can do, is go through the black hole. Because he has no choice. He's going to be sucked into it because he wants Anne Hathaway to survive. She's going to the last planet, and what she's bringing with her is, I don't know what you call it, DNA, but she's bringing with her enough stuff that she can start a human colony. She's got the DNA and everything she needs, eggs and sperms and all this stuff to start a whole human colony.
Yeah. And when you think
so
about
she's going there, but she can't make it there because there's too much weight. So he gets sucked through the black hole, and when he gets sucked through the black hole, I kind of thought it would be neat if, like you were saying, I do think it was a little bit too clean too, but
right.
I think he probably should have died.
My thoughts on it were that he sent TARS through, which TARS are these little walking computers.
Oh, yeah, those were great. Those robot walking computer things, those were really cool.
Yeah, and he sends TARS through first on one of their other pods, and he told her that should be enough to slingshot them to that planet. But he told her that just so that they could, he could sacrifice himself. But TARS' secondary mission, as he got sucked into the black hole, was to send back as much data to NASA as he could.
Yeah, because Earth is dying. They're not going to be able to fix it. They're not going to be able to bring anybody off of it because they can't figure out the gravity equation.
Right.
And they were like, well, the only way we might be able to get the data is go through a black hole, and that might save us. But nobody knows what's in a black hole. It's a black hole.
Right. And I thought that should have been enough. That his sacrifice and his daughter, who is now grown and is working at NASA as a physicist, would have got the information and would have helped the Earth to move to the next level.
Because she eventually figures out the equation eventually, and it's revealed in the movie that it's her father who, while he's in the black hole, since time has no meaning in there, he's able to give her the clues that she needs to solve it. I thought that was interesting, but I could have done without that bit.
Right, because the way that they tried to explain how that was possible was kind of silly to me. It's like, okay, that seems really.
Yeah. So we're getting really close to the end here. So we'll speed up just a little bit. But the other thing that we haven't mentioned is, okay, so she saves humankind by solving this equation or something. She's able to save the Earth. The Earth is saved based on what the information she has. Well, Matthew McConaughey wakes up in a hospital bed. He's now like 120 years old. He's been gone from the Earth for 120 years, but he hadn't aged at all. His time moved way differently. And they're on a space station by Saturn that's near the wormhole, right?
Right.
And you and I were talking about this. We couldn't figure out why was there a space station there, because in the end, Matthew McConaughey steals a spaceship and goes through the wormhole again.
Right.
To find Anne Hathaway. Well, why are they near the wormhole? I mean, did I get that wrong? Were they near the wormhole there? It sounded like they were going to Saturn.
You're totally correct.
Yeah, I mean, if they're near the wormhole and they're not going back and forth to the colony, why did they build a space station out there near Saturn, near that wormhole?
Well, if I remember correctly, and this is just me, remember that space station. That's what they were on Earth.
What's that?
Right? Wasn't that space station? Wasn't where they were working? Wasn't that the space station that they were going to shoot up?
I thought that space station was out in space near the wormhole by Saturn. I got the impression the Earth was saved because they didn't really say.
Right.
I just got the impression the Earth was saved because his daughter was still alive. But she was played by Ellen Burstyn, which I thought that was cool. But she had to travel somewhere to get there. So I got the impression she came from Earth to there because she was in a cryo sleep to get there. It wouldn't take them 8 months to go there. Yeah,
but I'm just going to say this: it's a jerk move that they're sitting at the end of at the edge of that space station, and now you're going to help Anne Hathaway raise 5,000 kids by herself.
Yeah, she had to raise that. Yeah, so that's kind of unclear what's going on there, but it seems like they're not going through the wormhole.
Right.
Because they show her, she's on a planet, they show her setting everything up. They show her on a habitable planet and everything. So here we're at the very, very end, so I would recommend going to check this out. I thought it was a good movie, a good start to the holiday season. Christopher Nolan, solid movie from him again. What do you say?
I'd say it's a good movie to go see. Just prepare to be sitting there for a while. It is a long movie. Might not want to bring the large pop per se.
Yeah.
To drink.
Yeah. It is long, but for me, I thought it moved really well.
It moved
fast.
What about you? No. I'm not saying it moved fast. I'm just saying that it's prepare yourself.
And I do want to mention this because I thought this was funny because I just read about this. There is a ship being built and a movement to actually colonize Mars. And if you want to check that out, it's on this website called Mars One. And I just read an article about this a couple weeks ago that they think that it should be ready by 2024 to leave and go to Mars. And they should start, I forget the full details, but what struck me about the article was they're all going to start dying off in 64 days if they don't get everything right. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun to see this, this Interstellar movie where they want to go colonize other planets. Well, they kind of have to. And right now, we're actually, in our lifetimes, going to try to colonize Mars. What do you think about that real quick? Would you go do that? Because to me, that sounds just like a one-way ticket.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, no. No, not me.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that either. Yeah, heck yeah. We'll remember them people forever because
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to come back. But anyway, that's just kind of interesting. It's something that's really happening, that's really being built, really being pushed for. But anyway, we had a great time here talking about Interstellar, so we will talk to you next week.